Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for joining this session, this Sunday webinar. So today we are in the 38th edition of this webinar, and we have a very interesting topic today, which we are facing right every day, almost every day. Now, before I reveal the topic, right, I would like to give you certain examples that we all have been familiar with. Now, there are days, right? There were days rather when we used to see that the board papers, right, when we all have cleared our class 10 boards, class 12 boards, and those boards papers, right, we used to see in a lot of paper packets, etc. Now, sometimes we do see these days that the bank account opening form with a lot of personal data, right, are available again in the kind of different papers, right, different packets, right, different carry bags, and many other things. So again, these things we have encountered maybe 15, 20 years right back. Now things have improved, right, in terms of intelligent hackers. But let me give you some other situation as well so that you can get a context of it. Let's say you are going about a normal day, right? You are in an office, maybe checking emails, replying to WhatsApp, and maybe approving a quick payment or downloading a document. Everything feels routine, familiar, safe, and you are not finding any threat anywhere. Then something small happens. You get a message, your bank account needs a verification, maybe a eKYC verification, or a call that sounds exactly like your manager asking for an urgent action, or a link that looks completely legitimate. What we typically do? We click, we respond, and we do that based on our trust. And nothing seems wrong. Everything looks perfect, at least not immediately. But in the background, something has already changed or something has already started. Your data is exposed, your credentials are compromised, and within a minute, the control is no longer yours. And we keep sometime scolding our kids, right, for not being very cautious about these things, but we do often make the similar kind of mistakes. In fact, we do often make this mistake more than them. Now, if you ask me, here is the uncomfortable truth. These did not happen because of a sophisticated hacker breaking in, because we always have that in our mind that hacking is a very sophisticated thing. Something big, something dramatic will happen, and then we'll think that, okay, my system is hacked. But trust me, it happened because of one human moment. And today, as I said, right, things have evolved, improved. Why did I say that? Because today, that moment is becoming more faster. The decisions are made in seconds, smarter, AI crafted messages that feel very real, and invisible attacks that you don't even notice. We are no longer dealing with an occasional threat. Now it is becoming a day in, day out habit. It is becoming a routine thing for us. We are living in a world of continuous intelligent risk, where the trust itself has become the attack surface. And the AI is amplifying both attackers as well as the defenders. And the line between the convenience and the vulnerability is getting thinner and blur every day. So the real question for today's conversation is not, is AI powerful? Is AI is agile or AI fast? But rather, are we adapting as fast as the risks are evolving? And are we building vigilance into how we think, work, and lead, basically in our culture, in our mindset, in our behaviors? And that's exactly what we are here to explore. And hence, I reveal the topic for today. AI moves fast, Agile adapts faster, and the vigilance wins. Now, with this, I would like to introduce our esteemed speaker for today, Mr. Anirban Shaha. He's a senior project manager in LTM. Anirban is a seasoned IT leader and cybersecurity professionals with over 13 years of experience driving enterprise transformation across banking, retail, and energy sectors. Currently serving as a senior IT project manager, he specializes in integrating cybersecurity, compliance, and governance into large-scale digital and cloud programs. He holds Master of Science in Cybersecurity from IIT Kanpur and is certified in ISC Square, certified in cybersecurity with additional credentials spanning ISO 27001, NIST, GDPR, PCI DSS, and SOX framework. Anirban has hands-on experience in SOC operation, vulnerability management, endpoint security, and risk assessment, and also has led global initiative implementing security controls across Microsoft 365, ServiceNow, and cloud environments. He's known for bridging the gap between the technical security practices and business outcome. He has successfully embedded security by design principle into agile delivery pipelines, improving compliance posture and reducing organizational risk. Now, without wasting further time, let's go into the first question. And the first question is all about speed versus control. So, Anirban, we all think about UPI payment app. We all are in a hurry. We scan a QR code and instantly approve the payment as soon as we get it. We don't even put a second thought here. Very fast, seamless, efficient. We don't have any threat in our mind. Okay, it is coming from a trusted source. We make the payment. Now, let's imagine the QR code is tampered. So the money is gone in second because there is no third party involved here. No delay, no warning. And that's exactly the dilemma the organizations are facing today. Speed is valuable, but unchecked speed amplifies mistake. Innovation is critical, but without the guardrails, it creates exposure. So my first question to you, Anirban, would be a basic one. AI is accelerating both innovation and risk. What does moving fast responsibly really means to organizations today? Over to you.
Okay, first of all, thanks Shubhabrata for the detailed introduction and everything. And this is a really interesting question. So you have mentioned that moving fast responsibly, right? So fast and responsibly, these two things are basically, the differentiator over here. I just want to give an analogy like this. Okay, moving fast, like you are driving a sports car without proper gear and the seat belt, and you are driving at the 300 km per hour speed. Hope you understand what could damage, right? The same way, but in that, if you want to win the race, you have to drive it 300 km per hour. Now the point is, like, you have to move fast with that particular 300 km per hour with the proper safety gear, okay, equipments and everything, so that you can win the race as well as it's matter of your safety. The similar way, when the organization is working at a very niche kind of thing, let's say they are doing some innovation in AI or quantum computing or any of these services or the solution, they have to keep a balance between the speed and governance. Okay, why? Because without control, if you are moving increase the speed, we are ended up by creating the risk which can damage a lot more to us. But even if we are not moving and make up the speed, okay, maybe the innovation is useless. So we have to keep a balance in between that. And for that, we have a lot of other solutions. For example, nowadays we have DevSecOps, okay, controlled AI environment where we can do this innovation, okay, but segregations and everything. So there are multiple other kind of things we can implement. But main point is we need to keep a balance between the governance and the speed.
So basically, we need to do a proper trade-off, right, between the speed as
Yes.
well as the safety, right, the control.
Yes.
Makes sense. Makes sense. Thank you so much. Now, coming to the next part, the behavioral part. Now, organizations today are investing heavily on the advanced tools. We all know that. The AI security platform, right, monitoring system, automated alert, phishing emails. On paper, everything looks secure. But let's make it this real. Imagine a workspace where everyone has a very strong password, multi-factor authentication is enabled, security tools are in place, and yet An employee gets an email that looks like it's from HR. Please review your updated salary details. They click the link, enter the credential, that's it. No system was hacked, no tool failed, but a moment of trust overrode all the technology. Now, this is the gap we are talking about. Tools can protect the system, but only culture can shape the behavior. Now, you have been dealing with these things for quite some time, right? As we have heard in the uh, introduction part. So, if over my question to you, if over 90% of the breaches start with the human behaviors, are we over investing in the tools and under investing in the mindset and the culture? Is it like our first manifesto, agile manifesto, that individuals and interaction over processes and tools, right? So why are we not investing? Why are we not focusing on the behaviors and over investing on the processes and tools? What is your take on that?
Okay, another interesting question, Shobhata. So again, I want to start with another analogy. Okay, long back, one of my mentor just said one thing to me, which is still in ringing in my mind. Okay, even if you have a very expensive pen or expensive Microsoft, this subscription, it doesn't mean that you are a good writer or you are a good author. Okay, the same thing is over here. You can purchase a lot of this modern security tool, okay, like Splunk and all this kind of things, which you use for this the security operations center and everything. You are in a very controlled environment, but if your decision is not perfect at the right time, you are open up the entire hall for the attackers. Just for an example, for the Splunk, what it can do. Just I'm just giving an example of a Splunk because it's widely used and everybody probably knows about it. This tool, right? What it basically do?
Right.
It basically this jot up all the logs from the different system, integrated different system, and based on some this analysis, kind of semantic analysis and may other intelligent analysis, which maybe the AI can be the solution, give you the the alert that hey, your system might be in the compromised state. But as a human, if we are just this ignore the decision at that point of time, or may not take the proper this action at that point of time, we are basically going to this open up the door. So my one line is that the firewall is only strong only the if the human decision is strong.
Correct.
Otherwise, no matter how many firewalls, how many security system you are going to implement, nothing will going to work.
Correct. I mean, just to add to your point, I'm sure like you will be adding further onto it. We all know about the EWS, like early warning signals, right, or early warning signs. The system will analyze our data. We keep submitting our status report, right? We give the RAG rating, etc. Everything is fine. And sometimes it can also give us an early warning signal. But how many of us are actually acting on it? Everything is in place. I fully agree with your point. Unless and until we make it a habit, may not need to take any action, but if we at least take a look into it and see that okay, whether everything is right, like you said, right, the Splunk is giving us a notification, but we are not acting on it. We don't need to act on it, but at least take a look into it, whether it is giving a fake message, right, or a right message. In that case, also, I think we can prevent a lot of things, right?
Exactly, sure. So just to add one more point, as you
Hmm.
initially, as you mentioned that the payment, QR payment, and all these
Correct.
kind of things. Okay, so I'm a very food lover, so I'm used to get that lot of used to lot of apps and all these kind
Uh,
of things. And nowadays, a lot of new apps is food apps basically come in the market,
right.
both in the this Play Store and the Android store. Okay, and iOS, I mean iOS and Android store. So basically, what they did, they said that this 40% discount is going to give you for first order. Please
Correct.
attach your credit card and the bank account details.
Exactly.
But let me ask you one question. How many of us really read that when they are capturing our sensitive information, that is PII,
Correct.
personal identification information, how many of us read their terms and conditions?
Correct.
That this data is used for what? For
Okay.
for me and you, it's absolutely nothing. Okay, maybe I can share this data. How they are giving this 40% discount? Because they are basically using our data and selling our data for millions
Correct.
of dollars. That's the thing.
Excellent. Excellent. Now, the next part, right, we learned about the balance, we learned about the behavior. Now, let's talk about trust. Now, traditionally, we relied on signals of trust. an email from a known address, a call from a familiar voice, or maybe message from a senior leader. But today, those signals can also be replicated using our NLP, right, or the advanced AI. Now, imagine a situation, right? We get a call from our managers. The voice sounds exactly like them, and they say, "Hey, Shubho, I'm in a meeting. Can you please urgently share the client file or approve this transaction?" Do we really question them? And why would we? Because I know that like he's my manager and he's asking me for that. We just recognize the voice and we trust the person and we do the action. But later we realize it was not them. It was an AI generated voice clone. Nothing was broken technically, but the trust itself was exploited. And this is the shift we are dealing with. Emails can look real, the voices can sound real, the messages can feel authentic. So the organization can no longer assume if it looks right that it is right. Instead, the trust must become a verified, not assumed, kind of you said. It should be context aware, not automatic. It should be continuously validated, not a one time granted, and that's it. Because in today's world, the more we trust blindly, the more vulnerable we become. So, from that perspective, the trust perspective, what is your take? The trust has become the new attack surface. How should the organization rethink trust in a world of deepfakes and AI driven social engineering?
Okay. So basically, it's there is already, there's a lot of proven use cases. You hopefully we all heard about this the deepfake scam and
Correct.
everything, where organizations has lost almost millions of dollars and all these
Hmm.
things. And apart from that, their reputation and all this part. Okay, and you have
Correct.
correctly just pointed out the trust. Modern days trust is not a relationship;
Right.
it is an attack vector. Okay, so to avoid this kind of things, we have a lot of mechanism like the multi-factor authentication. Okay, we have this defect detection system and all these kind of things. But again, what I recommend in that case that all these things has to be this built on top of the human behavior,
Hmm.
because even in the if you see this Uber case, this multi-factor authentication,
Correct.
this hangings kind of thing. So basically it was ultimately when this it is this figuring out, or we have do the, I mean, organization has done that I mean root cause analysis, ultimately is found is the human mistake,
Hmm.
because it is kind of an advanced persistent threat, APT. I mean, it is
Right.
more dangerous because once the hacker get the access to your system, that person will silently stay for some time. Even if you won't get any sort of identification or even notification that there are some wrong is happening in the system, but all of a sudden it's boom.
Hmm. Hmm.
So we have to just look into this matter and to see that what we can do. And one more example I would like to say, for our organization, we can see in the past days, we used to access a lot of application using SSO. For
Correct.
example, like we logging in our laptop. I'm just giving a simple example so that
Hmm.
everybody can relate.
Hmm.
We just put our user ID and password in the office laptop. Okay, office laptop has open lot of web apps. There's desktop apps we can access automatically.
Correct.
But that is a very dangerous in nowadays, because if one attacker this compromise your user ID and password, it will again become an open hole for that person.
Right.
So to avoid that, we have an this options like the Microsoft Intune and everything endpoint protection we have in the place. But again, we have to make sure we have to be very vigilant on top of everything so that we can prevent all this kind of attacks. So we are not saying that it will be 100%, because there are multiple other ways, because attackers are innovating
Hmm.
nowadays.
Right.
We are coming to that topic like how AI is going to enable them, but we have to be very vigilant on top of that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Now, since you brought that point of AI, now let's talk about a little bit on the shadow
Mhm.
AI.
Yep.
Now, employees today are using AI tools to work faster, summarizing document, writing codes, right, writing, getting MOMs from the transcript, analyzing data. It boosts the productivity instantly.
Mm.
Now, imagine this situation, and which all of us are kind of doing maybe every day. We are working on a client presentation with some sensitive data. We hardly care whether the version of ChatGPT or Gemini that we are using is a enterprise license or not. To save time, what we typically do, we paste the content into an AI tool to improve the wording, rephrasing. In seconds, we get a very polished outcome, great result, very happy. But what just happened in the background? That confidential data may now be stored, processed, or exposed outside our organization's control. No hacker, no breach in the traditional sense. The risk was created internally and unintentionally. And this is where the shadow AI looks like. Innovation is happening, productivity is improving, but the governance is missing. So the real challenge is not stopping people from using AI, it's about enabling them how to use it safely and responsibly. And that we know, right? Responsible and ethical usage of AI, which means the clear guideline on what can or cannot be shared. And we all do this kind of training, right? Every data security privacy training is a mandatory training, I'm sure, in every organization. Approved tools and environment, awareness of the hidden risk. But without that control, innovation can quietly turn into an exposure. Now you have got a great blend of security as well as the AI knowledge. So my question to you would be, and this is a everyday affair these days. So shadow AI is growing rapidly inside enterprises. How can organization enable innovation without losing control over data and governance? Because that's a
Okay.
client data threat.
Yep, it's in the modern day perspective. It's another really interesting topic, I must say.
Yeah.
Okay, I will divide this answer into three part. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
one is the to answer your query especially to solve this problem, we have to take into three things into consideration. Number one, we cannot ignore the this contribution of the AI right now. If
Correct.
the organization is not using AI, they will be lag behind and they cannot win. Okay, so obviously they lose business. So organization has to set up their this own governance model from the AI perspective. Like for example, like enterprise chat GPT or something.
Mm-hmm.
It's not fully secure. I'm coming to that, but
Mm-hmm.
still there are still some guardrails with respect to this the normal chat GPT or Gemini
Correct.
or any other applications.
Right.
Second thing, obviously, it's an accountability from the employee. No matter what this which position you are working in, you must have some responsibility that what data I should pass through the AI and what I should not. Okay,
Agree.
this is the employee's responsibility. And third thing is that it's a very large scale. Maybe it's I mean, maybe we might not be able to see it very next six months to 1 year, but that is very important. Like the guardrail of AI.
Mm-hmm.
Without the guardrail, okay, what will happen? Again, I'm just giving an analogy. Let's say in the race course we have lot of horses, right?
Mm-hmm.
But without proper jockey, without proper there's a gear, okay, the horse will directly go and hit the audience.
Correct.
The AI is like that. Okay, it has a faster speed and everything, but the point is until and unless it is get controlled, okay, and it is channelized, power is channelized, it will be like a nuclear blast. And therefore the data, I mean, from the data and this IT perspective.
Mm-hmm.
So to just to create the safe AI, obviously these three things is very important. First of, organization has to set up a similar set of or precise set of this application for the employees AI uses. Second thing is responsible employee, and third thing is the guardrail of AI. These three things is need to be synchronized in very strong and very this tight way, so that we can avoid all this kind of risk.
Right. And that is probably one of the reason led to, if I may try to probe a little bit on this one,
Mm.
this is probably one of the reason where still the clients are skeptical, right, about implementing AI, right, for the project. We may be creating a lot of use cases, etc., but still they are skeptical that how reliable is our firewall, right? Whether data will be secure, especially for the financial healthcare sector, they are little skeptical. I know my organization, they are really calling out clearly. Okay, I know that you have created a lot of use cases. Are you really using it for your own organization? And we don't have an answer. So if
Yes.
we are not able to use our use cases, right, for our own organizations, how can I go ahead and sell it to the client?
Exactly.
Correct?
Exactly. But again, that is also another challenge. If we even have a proper set of AI tools defined for the organization, even we have the responsible person in the organization who knows that
Mm,
what to share and how much intensity of the data we should share through the AI.
mm,
But still, there is another question mark on this the AI firewall, which is the LLM firewall. Okay,
Correct.
how many of us? I mean, how many of the product has already implemented that?
Right.
How many
Right.
of really going to really implement the 42001? I'm pursuing right now that, okay, this AI security and governance. So how many organization within this world, I'm not talking about in India, but in the world, how many of are the 42001 compliant?
Correct.
Okay,
Correct.
once we have all these things in the place, then definitely will be, this, we can say that at least we are at some level to avoid the risk from the AI.
Brilliant. And of late, I have seen, like, we all, like those who are working in IT, we have seen that earlier, on even that there used to be certain client where you used to have a kind of protected place. Correct. You
Yes.
cannot carry your mobile. Right. You have to do another swiping. Right. You have to keep your bag because we are dealing with the client. So no way the client data should be leaked outside that particular room. And of late, I was kind of meeting a client. I mean, meeting a client, and they are proposing, I cannot trust. I mean, our president tried to convince them, yes, our firewall is good, but they said no, right? With all due respect, I cannot only trust that. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to invest, right, for my employee. I mean, the people who are going to work for them. Let's say 50. So I want to create a top enterprise license for them so that they will be only using that. So the accountability is only mine. I cannot blame you. Correct. So that was a good change I'm seeing. I don't
Hmm.
know whether it is happening everywhere, but the clients are now becoming little knowledgeable, right? We cannot just make them fool, right? So they are saying, no, fine, you have your enterprise license. I'm happy with that. But I just want to keep one more wrapper on top of it. I would like to give you one more firewall so that I'll ensure I'm putting my best effort, right? So that my team member become productive at the same time my data is secure because that's my responsibility because I'm answerable to, right, my end users, right, which you will not be taking the accountability. So things are changing. Good, good.
Yeah, also one more point I'd like to add, because
Please.
this is a very interesting topic. So, so far, whatever we have seen, like the modern cloud provider, like the AWS, Google
Right.
Cloud, and everything, right?
Hmm.
Why I'm saying that this is basically important extra firewall, extra, this tunneling for the,
Correct.
to the pass the data from the one side to another,
Hmm.
because the AI has not even any model of the AI has not given us the segregated or the separate this architecture
Right.
to save our data privately. We don't know that where
Absolutely.
our data is going to save. It's
Correct.
in the different nodes, but what is the structure of those nodes? Okay, how they are segregated from the different tenant? That is also a biggest challenge for us. We don't have this answer. Neither ChatGPT or maybe OpenAI, Gemini, or any other, okay, any other modern this AI application has not
Correct.
given us this kind of architecture. So this is basically open up another dimension of risk of
Hmm.
saving the especially the enterprise data. Yeah.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you so much for this great insight. Now let's talk about little bit on the agile part and what are the risks associated with it. Now we all know about agile. No need to right, define them.
Hmm.
Agile helps team move fast, release features quickly, incrementally, respond to feedback, and iterate continuously. Right? This is all we know. But now imagine this situation. A team is rushing to a release with a new feature before a deadline. It works well, passes the
Hmm.
functional testing, and goes live. But in the hurry, what we missed? A basic security check is skipped. An API left exposed. The access control are not fully configured. Everything looks fine until someone exploits that gap. Again, nothing was wrong with the agile. You cannot blame agile for that. The issue was speed without embedded security that we spoke about. Now, this is the core dilemma. Again, coming back to the speed and control, but with the wrapper of agile. Agile encourages fast delivery, but without integration, the security becomes an afterthought. Like earlier, verification validation used to become a later from right later part of the development. But now things are moving to test-driven development. Now this is also becoming a little bit of security-driven right implementation. So the real answer is agile does not increase risk by design. Poor implementation of agile does. Now what works better? Now, security built into backlog, like I said, like we can do this ahead of time. So, from your experience, what all checks and balances Agile can do? What are the fundamental changes Agile can suggest, right? So that um, it can be prevented. These unintentionally increasing security risks, right, can be prevented. What is your take on that?
Sorry, due to some network issues, I could not able to hear your question. Can you just repeat quickly?
Oh, yes. Now, we all know that Agile promotes speed and flexibility,
Hmm.
but can it unintentionally increase the security risk if not designed carefully? Where is the balance? Like how, right, Agile can, secure our system basically. What all suggestions you would like to give?
Okay. So first of all, I would say that agile is an way of working. Okay,
Correct.
like any other methodology we are going to use in the world. So agile alone cannot give us a part or ensure our security, right?
Right.
So basically, what we need to do, we need to embed the security inside the agile. Now,
Mm-hmm.
one of my question to everyone, maybe this when we have an Q&A session, we can discuss more about it.
Right.
That how many of us write, especially the security feature, when we are refine our backlog,
Agree.
or how many of us is write the this is the PBIs or the user stories
Correct.
related to the security, especially to the security. For us, what we are basically doing, we are embedding the security things within our other functional features, and because of that, the intensity of the security need is diluted.
Correct.
Sometimes developers this overlook that, product owner don't understand that particular part, because
Right.
not everybody is from the technical background and they can understand the security, right?
Agree. Yep.
So we have to change the pattern, that how basically we are going to secure our application, secure our organization, or secure our service or solution, whatever we are providing.
Mm-hmm.
And the way we are implementing the agile, that is absolutely okay. Only thing is that we have to put proper blend. Just
Correct.
like you are cooking some curry, you
Mm-hmm.
have to put proper salt.
Right.
Without proper salt, it become tasteless.
Agree. Agree. No, fair point. And also, I was hearing like in some of the cases, you may try to include, because typically in the definition of done, right, which we say that,
Yes.
okay, we are talking about both functional, right, as well as the compliance check. Now, you may want to increase, right, that security compliance more, right, security vulnerability compliance more into the kind of implementation. And also, as we all know that DevSecOps, now it's no more DevOps, right? We are including, embedding security into it, and it is becoming kind of DevSecOps. No, fair point.
Yes.
Now, next comes to another dimensions of this conversation, which is called defenders. Now, today, almost every organization has access to similar tools, AI-driven detection, monitoring system, alerts, and yet, when incident happens, the outcomes are very different. Now, let's talk about two situations. Now, there are two employees in different organizations receive the same suspicious email. In organization A, the employee hesitates and immediately reports it to security team. The team responds quickly and blocks the threat, no damage done. In the organization B, the employee clicks without thinking. The credential got compromised. The issue goes unnoticed for hours. And by the time it is detected, the damage is already done. So in these two situations, what did we see? Same threat, similar tools, but completely different outcomes. So what is the difference? Not just the technology. It was more of
Hmm.
an awareness of the individual, the culture of phishing, right? Security threat, right? In that
Yeah,
organization.
decision.
Absolutely.
Decision and the proper time.
Correct.
Yes.
Correct. Clarity of process. What to do when, exactly what you said, when something feels wrong, that flash of a second, you need to make the decision. The speed of response, the culture that encourages reporting without fear. Because sometimes we hesitate. Sometimes we feel, okay, what if, right, my decision is wrong? Correct? So sometimes we don't report. That's the real distinction. Weak defenders rely on the tools. Strong defenders combine tool, processes, and culture. So my
Yep.
point is here, AI is empowering attackers with scale and automation, right? Like we are becoming productive, attackers are also becoming a lot more productive, lot innovative. So
Hmm.
what differentiates organization that successfully defend versus those that struggle? What is that thin line? What is that difference?
So let me answer with a very important equation of cybersecurity. Okay, it is. I mean, I really like that equation. So whenever any attack happens, so attack is the summation of method, motivation, and the vulnerabilities. Okay,
Excellent.
this is the, I mean, the one of the thumb rule along with the CIA triad we are used to for, I mean, used for the cyber security.
Hmm.
Okay, now the first two things, this method and motive. Okay, we cannot change much about it. This is not in our control totally,
Hmm.
because motive, like, if I want to steal the money from someone's bank account, that is my motive.
Correct.
Okay, I cannot do anything about this part. The thief has this mindset. Method, AI is already empowering them with a lot of way. Okay, I'm not saying this AI is good or bad. It's something like using this atomic energy is good or bad, something like
Right.
that. It's a very debatable topic. I mean, how you going to use it, totally depends. Whether you use it in the offensive side or the defensive side, it's up to you. We
Correct.
don't have any much control on top of that. Now, what we can control is the vulnerabilities.
Hmm.
As you correctly pointed out, that the first employee reported properly, right? That means the decision speed and the culture. That
Correct.
means, and this culture is basically comes from the organization level. It should
Right.
not be comes from that one of the individual. Let's say me, you, or Mr. X, Mr. Y is going to do that. No, it
Right.
should be come from the top down approach. Okay,
Right.
from organization top down to the bottom level. Yes, that if there is any vulnerability of security, please take the accountability and just report it on time. It's not the security team that they are only responsible for the security, right?
Agree.
It's the each and every employee, starting from the watchman to
It's a
the
collective ownership.
CEO.
It's a
It's a
collective
collective
ownership.
ownership and the accountability.
Right.
So my point is, we can, I mean, reduce the risk of vulnerability.
Hmm.
Okay, for the decision speed plus culture. And my one more point: the cybersecurity is no longer about the prevention; it about response velocity.
Right.
Okay, I hope I clarify this
Yeah, yeah,
answer.
yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. I like that, like response velocity. Okay, great. Now, coming to another area called blind spot. So many organizations, right, invest in the right tool, firewalls, monitoring system, AI detection. On the surface, everything looks secure. But let's again talk about the situation. A company has strong security control in place,
Mm.
but an employee is working from a cafe. We all, right? So we all go for a holiday now. These days, we carry our laptop everywhere in the world, correct? And we cannot believe that, and we cannot even expect that everywhere the Wi-Fi will be very secured. So we are connecting to a public Wi-Fi. They download a file, right? Log into internal systems, and sometimes the organizations are also forcing us to do that. Okay, you have to respond to that email. You cannot. So are we not going to take vacation? Of course, we have to take vacation, but those right time sheet, etc., we can do it right from there. We know that, but we are exposing ourselves into the security threat. So we download file, we log into internal systems, we continue working, nothing unusual, no alarms go off, no system flags it. But that one moment, outside control environment creates a silent vulnerability, exactly you said. Now the tools did not fail. The risk came from an overlooked everyday behavior. And this is the blind spot. Now, the problem here is, again, we talked about culture, we talked about investment, but the leaders often focus on the systems, infrastructure, and external threats, but underestimate human habits, right? Context of usage and decision making in real situation. Now, another common example: access is given quickly for convenience, but rarely reviewed and revoked. And this is, everyone would agree. You go and join a project, you get an access. But when you come out of it, is your access revoked? Is anyone looking into it? So even if it is an internal project, but still you are getting a lot of emails, which you are not supposed to get those emails. You are not supposed to expose to those informations. Months later, those unused performations become a risk. There may be some conflict. Let's say you may be working for a competing client, and you never know that you may be right blamed for that, but it's not your fault. Now, these are not complex problems, but these are some of the invisible gaps or blind spot in the processes and awareness. So the real question is, failures are often human and process driven. So what are the biggest blind spot that leaders still underestimate, and how they can solve those problems? What is your take?
Okay, it's a really debatable topic, and it's a, I mean, what I say, I mean, we can even speak about 2 to 3 hours really
I know.
about related to that. Okay, I will start one scenario. I will definitely come to your
Yeah,
question.
yeah,
I
of
mean,
course.
but I will come start with a scenario. I mean, we all travel nowadays. Nowadays, travel is very common after the COVID event. Okay,
Correct.
so I'm just asking one question: how many of us using the airport AI? I mean, airport Wi-Fi.
Many of us.
Many
Of
of us
course, many
doing
of
that,
us.
right?
Yep,
Many
yep.
of us doing that. Even sometimes it doesn't require any password. If
Right.
you enter inside that, it's unsecure Wi-Fi. And I had seen
Airport
recently.
still may have a password because it may
Hmm.
send you an OTP, but if you go to a rail station and try to use the
Yeah,
public Wi-Fi,
I
it
mean,
does not require
obviously, common,
anything. Correct.
but not record password.
Yeah,
No,
yeah.
not all airport. I have seen this airport even in
Oh,
the
okay.
outside of India. Recently, I was outside of India, so
Oh, okay.
okay, I saw that there have been a lot of persons are using this Wi-Fi, and I can understand that they're doing something very important. Okay, they're
Correct.
talking over the phone and then doing this kind of thing.
Right.
Just I'm going to tell you one thing. There are a lot of tools. Forget about this very this expensive tool. There are one tool called the Wireshark. Okay, if you connect to the Wireshark as a normal user, and it is an unsecured network, I can analyze your entire traffic,
My God.
what you are sending, what is the credentials. Okay, and it can be very easy for even for an the script kid is just like who can download the script from the internet and can try to hack it. Those are knows and script kids, they don't need any black hat or white hat hackers. Okay, any script kids can do that in Wireshark analysis, the packet transmitted through the network. Okay, promiscuous mode they will put it. I'm not going to tell the exact thing because it will be create a security concern
No, no,
over here.
absolutely. Yeah, yeah.
But there's the entire thing, what the IP you are connecting from, what are the hop network you are going to use. Okay, every details from your server to your system, what are all the IP addresses, from using the entire the route they can trace. Okay, you can understand what will be the consequences,
Correct.
not for only for you, but the server you are even connecting. Okay, now my point is, as you mentioned, the tool is over there. We all know that we have a very this economical VPN connectivity is
Correct.
available right now. So
Hmm.
even if you are compelled to use this public Wi-Fi, why one person is not using is a very this proper VPN?
Correct.
I should not take a name, but I'm just telling you, this not VPN. The
Right.
individual is cost is how much? It is $10 per hour. Even if you
Hmm.
are so important person to use this public Wi-Fi in a hurry, so why you are you not using the Node or similar kind of VPN, secure
Right.
VPN, so that it will protect your data and everything?
Hmm.
But they're not. They're using it like anything.
Right.
So forget about the organization. And second incident I'm going to tell you. In one day I was in office. Okay, I just create from my phone a, I mean, Wi-Fi hotspot, like the
Hmm.
free Wi-Fi hotspot of some of the cafes name.
Hmm.
I can see within that 5 minutes, almost 10 devices is going to connect with my
Correct.
this public, I mean, my free Wi-Fi.
Hmm.
So I can have all their data and everything, right? I'm just testing purpose. I just do that, but please don't do it,
Hmm.
because
Hmm.
it's. I request everyone, don't do it this kind of things, because it
Right.
is violate that norms and rules. So
Right.
my point is that, to come your question from the organization level, so basically it's a problem with the human, with the process risk, and
Correct.
obviously with the mindset.
Right.
So basically, the most breaches don't break the systems. It basically bypass the thinking. Because
Correct.
if I'm going to implement the VPN, I have to set it up. People are lazy. People don't want to do that. But they don't understand that their laziness can open the door, even not for them as well. Because if their device is getting compromised, when you come back in your home, your entire family's device will be compromised as well.
Absolutely. Yep. Yep. Definitely. Thank you. Thank you so much. Great insights. Now coming to the another very funny area, right? Now we are getting into a little bit of governance, right? And uh, and of course the what leaders should do moving forward. So traditionally security has worked like a health checkup, right?
Yeah.
We often do once in a year. We go once in a while, run the test, everything looks fine, and we are right. You assume that you are healthy until the next check. So imagine this situation. Your bank account is secure. You have set a very strong password, enabled the alerts, maybe even done a security review last month. But today, right now, someone tries multiple login attempts and you accidentally click a suspicious link. The risk does not wait for you, right, for your next audit. It happens in real time. And this is a shift we are dealing with. Earlier, the security was periodic audits, reviews, and the compliance check. Today, threats are continuous and evolving every moment. So the real question is, are organizations operating like we checked last quarter, so we are safe, or like we are constantly aware, monitoring, and ready to respond? Because continuous vigilance means noticing unusual behavior immediately and responding in minutes, not days. Making security part of everyday decision, like you said earlier, not an occasional review. So in today's world, threats don't take breaks. So vigilance cannot either. So my question to you on the vigilance and governance, with continuous threats, the governance is shifting from periodic to real time. From your experience, Sonirban, are organizations culturally ready for this continuous vigilance, or it is still a hype right now?
Okay. To come to your question straightforward, that uh, theoretically yes, practically no. Why?
Correct,
Because we nowadays we have even see, if you see any of this organization portfolio, they said that we are at 27,001 compliant. Okay.
correct,
uh, I mean, some of them say that 9,000 compliant, and I saw all this compliant, security
right,
compliant, etc., etc. But how often this compliance audit happens? Once or
correct,
twice in a year?
right.
And I'm telling you this real scenario. It's happened most of the organization. If anybody is not following that, I'll be really thankful to them that
Correct.
you are really doing a very good practice. So before the audit, people are usually clean their system,
Agree.
arrange the documents, okay, so that they get it compliant. But
Correct.
my point is the security is not a checkpoint.
Right.
Okay, it's a continuous process. It's a continuous process. Why it's continuous process? Because even if in 6 months you are doing the audit and after that you forget everything, you bookmark your password, okay, write your password in your desk and everything, okay, it will ultimately create a threat. I'm giving you one recent example. In one of the US, I don't want to take the name over here, but I'm just giving a use case you can even find in the Google.
Mhm.
One of the US top agencies. I mean, they are working in some of the public databases. One of their leader is going to the retirement. Okay, end of
Okay.
their service, and on the very next day, okay, the database get compromised. Okay, everything is quite secured, multi-factor authentication, encryption. Okay, even they have implemented the retina scan, fingerprint scan, everything.
Wow.
Okay, even after that it is get breached. So how they figure it out? When the investigation happens after 3 months, it is figure it out that that's when that person is getting retirement, during the retirement farewell ceremonies. Okay,
Okay.
some of their colleague take
Uh-huh.
a picture,
Okay.
and the person at where the person stands is behind the wall. There are some password and the code word was written,
Oh my God.
and that colleague has posted that image to that the social media. And nowadays the camera resolution is so strong
Correct.
so that somebody has captured these things. They do some analysis from the code word, and using some permutation combination, they breach the walls, firewalls, and get access in the database. So you understand that what is the, I mean, intensity of it. So from this context, I would like to say, do you think really that the 6 months audit and after that negligence, leaving the this badges over the this desk, leaving the computer unattended without, I mean, opening, that's not like this lock, without locking and leaving the cubicle, makes sense, really makes sense?
Correct. No,
No.
absolutely. Just a checklist, right? Just to show something is done. Yeah, just making it as a checklist
Yeah,
item.
it's not,
Absolutely.
no more a checklist with the proper, and this increasing threat. It's no more a checklist.
Correct. Thank you. Thank you so much. Now, coming to the last question for today, it's so interesting discussion. So we often say people are the weakest link. We have right talked about that. We told that multiple times. But the real question is, how do we turn people into the strongest line of defense? Now again, a situation, because security is all about situational. So in one organization, the employee get a yearly security training, like I said, like data security privacy training. They complete it, pass the quiz, and move on. When a suspicious email arrives, most people ignore the warning sign. Few report it. Some click with right without thinking. Right?
Hmm.
We discuss similar thing. So security exists, but only on paper, like you said. Now contrast that with another organization. When someone receives a suspicious email, they pause and question it. They report it immediately. Again, team openly discuss such incident without blame. Now here the security is not a training, right? It's not a checklist. It's a culture, right? It's a behavior. It's a
Hmm.
habit. It's a
Hmm.
ownership. That's what culture looks like at a scale, not just an awareness, but an action or a decision. Not just policies, but everyday decision. Not just an IT responsibility, but everyone's responsibility. We talked about that collective responsibility. Because the leaders can mandate the tools, but the culture is built when people feel responsible, not forced. And that should come from within, from DNA, right? Yes, it's get into their habit, their DNA. Reporting is encouraged, not penalized. I can tell you from my organization, whenever we do that, and that is now becoming a culture, we know that it's going to come. Sometimes I did a wrong one, and it is never penalizing me. It is just telling me, okay, thank you for your continuous vigilance on this phishing email, but this was not a phishing email. But thanks for your focus on that. That's it,
Hmm.
right? So reporting is encouraged, not penalized. Secure behavior becomes default, not the exception. So the last question for today: if the culture is the ultimate defense, how do leaders practically build a culture of accountability, awareness, and security ownership at scale? Know that we know that we discussed it, but in a different context. But what is the leadership stake here to build that culture of accountability, awareness, and the security ownership at scale?
Yeah, it's a really good question and very serious question, I must say. Because, see, as you have already mentioned, that policy, obviously, every organization should have a policy, okay, that how they conduct this training, what are the do's and don'ts and everything.
Right.
That is for the references, okay. But to, just build something in at the very scale, we need to, as per my opinion, I think we need to implement the four practical pillars,
Mm-hmm.
okay. First is the awareness, which make the risk real. Like,
Correct.
yes, this is the risk. I'm aware about this, and let's report, as you mentioned. Okay, this
Mm.
is the awareness. And when they have I mean, any employer, any person should be sensible enough that when to report and what to report.
Correct.
Okay, this is one. This is the awareness. Second is the
And also
ownership.
the reporting process. Sorry to add, and reporting
Hmm.
process would be very simple. It
Yes,
should not be too much of here, there, you have to find out the link, right?
exactly,
So now these
exactly.
days in Microsoft Outlook, you just,
Hmm.
there is a three dot,
Yeah, phishing,
click on
phishing
open it,
email.
report phishing email. That's it.
Yes, yes. They have
Yeah,
come up with
just
a new
telling.
solution, and really, I really appreciate that. It is a wonderful solution from the
Right.
Microsoft. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, now come to the second pillar. It is the ownership, as I previously mentioned, that starting from the security guard to the CEO.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, ownership and accountability should be lies with each and everyone in the organization, and that should be a culture. That should not be something like, this, if you don't do it, I will punish you. No, it should be comes from inside. Okay, we
Correct.
have to build that culture. On top of that, third thing is a habit.
Mm.
Spatial behavior, as I safe, sorry, spatial and safe behavior, because as I mentioned, I have seen in the office one person leave the, I mean, access badge and the computer, I mean, opened.
Mm.
Okay, and no, there's nobody in the office. I just attend, I see that, what, I mean, this person has left this kind of thing, because I have never practiced this kind of thing. So it's become, this feel odd to me. So this thing, this sort of culture, I believe, I mean, it's very small things which can be, start at the, I mean, bigger picture the later, from in terms of security. We have to make this as an habit. Okay,
Mm.
and for that, again, that these things, the habit will come from the culture and the mindset.
Mm. Mm.
And last but not in the list, the reinforcement. It's a leadership plus incentives. For example, leader has is to impose the culture. As I mentioned, that it should come from the top down. It should not be like the security department responsibility to, they spread this culture across the organization. No, it should be come from the top down. Okay. And second thing, for small incentive, for example, decentralized, the security champion. For example, each and every team should have a security champion. Okay, we may, I mean, this is an initiative. Or maybe we can report the any dashboard, like, let's say, for example, like phishing, fake phishing campaigns we just drive, and we can see that which team has reported so many numbers of phishing, okay, fake phishing scams, and detect for fake phishing scam, and we can appreciate them in front of public. so that the visibility creates the accountability. So these are the four pillars. If we impose, I think the security culture with the training, with the proper behavior, these things definitely be achieved.
Excellent. Now, I just want to just give one example, not a question, which I have seen right over last 23 years. Now, when we joined right IT 23 years back, we used to get an access card, and the access card used to have our name, full name,
Mm,
picture, company name, and also the band
mm.
that we used to get. That also used to engrave right the company name, and also sometimes the your employee ID, right, your
Yes.
date of joining maybe, or maybe your date of birth. Correct. Now, off late, we are seeing a lot of things are changing. That band
Mm.
is not having the company name anymore. Now, in my organization, I can tell you, I don't know about others. Now, only the picture, that's it, and the name. No employee ID, no date of birth, right? Not even the company name. Maybe these are all, I don't know. I mean, you may be able to answer it better, right? But these are all changes that we are seeing happening. So that means organizations are also learning, and maybe they are right kind of taking some of the steps towards making it right fully anonymous or something like that, so that people cannot even realize or recognize that okay, you are so and so company's employee, and that is your right employee ID, right? That may be becoming a PISPI data, right, for anyone. I
Yes.
don't know.
Yeah, just to give an on top of that, Shubha, but it is really nice things. I remember one of the training which I used to have 2015-16. Okay, there is one of the security training that was a mandatory compliance. I think in our most of our organization we have. So in that all there was an animated training. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
to do some this the digital platform where I mean there is one module which about this just how to carry your laptop when you are traveling.
Correct.
Okay, that is the thing. So the trainer has clearly mentioned that if you are just traveling by car or something, okay, with expensive things, let's say your laptop, your digital devices, okay, everything. So when you talk right the laptop
Not even you are breaking up. I don't know whether it is for
these
me or for everyone.
things, this portable right now.
Yes.
Now it's okay.
Yeah, yeah. Go ahead.
Okay. So the point is like this we are not supposed to expose the potential things or potential valuable things to the attackers.
Correct.
If we don't expose it, it's a less chance that it will get attacked.
Mm.
Okay, just for an example, I'm just giving it very pretty simple and straightforward. If you are wearing a very this thick gold chain,
Mm.
okay, it's basically this attract the attacker that hey, this person has a gold chain and let's snatch it.
Mm.
But if someone doesn't know that you are wearing a very thick gold chain, the person is not going to attack you usually.
Correct.
Your probability is less. So the example which you given, this is the point of thing, like if you are hiding this valuable things from the attackers, obviously there is a less chance, hence this PII information is basically removed from the this ID card and everything. So that is the idea behind that.
Excellent. Excellent. Thank you so much. Now, before I open it up for the audience, uh, let's add some fun element. A lot of serious discussion happened. So now let's go for a quick rapid fire round on one.
Sure.
Speed or security? What breaks first in most organization?
So obviously speed without governance.
Wow. One word. Biggest cyber risk today.
Trust.
Excellent. Tool or culture? What actually
Culture.
prevents breaches?
Culture, because it's ultimately opened the threats.
Correct. Is zero trust strategy or just a buzzword?
It's a strategy, but if it is poorly implemented, okay, then it's make no sense.
Excellent. Shadow AI. Is it an opportunity or ticking the time bomb?
Actually, it's a both. How are you going to use it?
Okay, nice one. Agile help security, myth or reality?
It's a reality with discipline.
Good. What fails more often? Technology, processes, or people?
Of course, people. Technology, I mean, fails. It's not like technology never fails, but people is fails
More
most of the time.
vulnerable. Hmm,
Yeah, 90% almost.
correct. One blind spot leaders consistently miss.
It's a behavioral risk.
Okay. Continuous vigilance, practical or idealistic?
It's practical, but needs some of the cultural shift, I believe, as per the present situation. Once again,
Okay. If you could fix one thing tomorrow, what would that be?
bit tough, but I would go for accountability, because if people are accountable, okay, we can, this avoid, this many things in the
Brilliant.
current situation.
Thank you so much, Anirban, for your insights. Now, I'll open it up for the audience. If anyone has any question, feel free to ask.
Okay, I think one question we have. 20.
Yeah, I think from Shudokinadi, it was an end-to-end deep thought information on. Okay, no, it's a comment. Any question from anyone?
Maybe I'll go then.
Yes.
Hi
Sure.
everyone.
Hi, Ranan.
Excellent points. And while I 99% agree with your comment about the culture versus process thing, because I'm a big believer that yes, culture has to change, but my observation is that culture is something which is so difficult to change. Say, for example, even after so much of awareness, people still not have taken seriously the safety in two-wheelers or the four-wheelers.
Hmm.
Even today, people go out without helmet. Even today, most of the people don't like wearing a seat belt, although people know that the repercussion is between life and death. So some of the cars, what they have to now get into a mode where like either they will make a very loud noise if you are not wearing your seatbelt and still trying to drive, or there are discussions in the German cars that they will not switch on the ignition unless you wear the seatbelt, kind of a thing. So do you think that at some point of time we might have to take a call that there has to be some processes which is like irrespective of people align or their culture changes, they get the real understanding of the uh, impact what it can cause? Some of the times we might have to just bring in process, because some of the things people might not change even if you tell them repeatedly.
Yeah, somewhat it is true. Obviously, as you mentioned, that it's difficult to change, but I must say that it's not impossible, because I have seen few of the organization who have imposed the things in the there's a proper way so that they can change the culture. The point is like how you are going to, just change the culture. See, from my experience, what I can say, change
Sorry, I think anyone, your voice is
You're
breaking.
breaking up. Maybe
comes
you may want
from
to
the
just
different
stop the
demography,
video.
different culture, different education level.
Yeah, yeah. Go ahead.
Can you?
Anirban. Yeah, it's fine.
Okay,
Better,
now it's
much
okay.
better.
Okay, so basically, okay, thank you. So basically, as I mentioned, that from my perspective, the changing the culture is difficult because the people has come from the different background, different demography, and different education. But it is not at all, this impossible or 100% not possible to change. It's not like that, because we have seen the organization who have successfully changed the culture and defend it. And because of that, nowadays the bank frauds and everything is little bit on the lesser side rather than last 5 years. If you see the data, okay, even if the cyber attacks are nowadays is very very difficult from the technology perspective, because the technology side where people are getting give the barrier. Now the point is we have to bring it in the people's level. So for that there are multiple things are there. I mean, this is not a kind of a checklist that I can say that these 5 things you do, your team's culture has been going to change. But you have to figure it out that what basically works for your particular team or particular set of people, so that this culture can be changed, and this we can this implement that proper security over there. But that totally depends on that how team works, what is the demographic culture, what is the education level understanding, what they like. Even from their perspective we need to know first of all, so that we can change the culture. And that is basically, I believe, the leadership has to work on that, because for any culture change it should comes from the top. Most of this culture and the regulation fails because it's not coming from the top down. Whether it's an agile or security, it should be come from the top down approach.
Okay.
Yes, can't agree more. Thanks you. Thanks a lot, Anirban.
Anyone else has any other question? Okay. So if not, first of all, thank you so much, Anirban, for such a kind of meaningful conversation that we had for the last 1 hour. And we have covered a lot today. We talked about AI, we talked about Agile, we talked about risk culture. But if there is one thing to take away is that the technology will keep evolving, threat will also keep accelerating. And what truly makes the difference is how we respond. Do we act with awareness? Do we build with responsibility? Or do we just stay vigilant even even in routine moments? Because in the end, it's not the smartest tool that wins. It is not the fastest system that wins. It is the organization that adapts continuously and stays vigilant. So to summarize, AI moves fast, Agile adapts faster, and the vigilance wins. Thank you so much, and let's keep the conversation going. Thank you so much,
Thank
everyone,
you.
for joining.
Thanks everyone.
Thanks, Shubho. Thanks, anyone.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Bye bye.